Okay, so I'm making this video so that you kind of have an idea of what we expect to see when you're making your Flipgrid Explain It quiz. So notice I'm making them like I usually do, which is just in a writing program on my tablet, and then I'm doing a screen recording of that, so you're not seeing my face. That's completely acceptable. If you prefer to videotape yourself explaining the problem so that you can see you and your work, that's also wonderful. So however you choose to do that is fine. You need to definitely start by identifying what the question is and clearly explain it. So this is problem 833B from your book, and it asks us to, given these roots and this point here, we are expected to write the equation in standard form. Okay, so the way you're doing these videos, keep in mind, your goal is to explain it as if people don't understand. So you might want to first tell me what is standard form. So I might start by saying, okay, so we're given two roots here and a point on this function, and we know we want to write it in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, standard form of a quadratic. So we're going to take our roots. Again, you're going to start explaining the process. I wrote myself some notes, and I highly recommend, in fact, you need to do this because you have to turn them in. Write yourself some notes on not only doing the problem all the way out so you're not doing it live, but then also make yourself some notes on what you're going to say. How do I explain why I'm doing this next step? How do I let them know that we're going to take these and do the reverse zero product property to put them in factored form? So we get x plus 3 and we get x minus 2. So now we have factored form of our quadratic, and we know f of x is just y equals this factored form times some a value. Again, starting to explain the process, right? What we need to do is solve for a. Why do I need to solve for a? Because given two factors, you don't know if there is some a value being multiplied. We could be stretching or compressing this quadratic, and given only the factors, I don't know what it is. So we're going to take this point, 3, 2 here. Often using colors can be helpful, so if you want to do that. So we're going to take 3 and plug it in every time we see an x. 3, 3. Again, I'm going to coordinate this. And then we're going to plug in negative 12 where we see y. Again, the more you can explain, the better here. Again, we're still solving for a. We don't know what a is yet. You can do that in color if you want. And we need to do 3 plus 3, and we need to do 3 minus 2. Okay, so now I have the ability to solve for a because it's the only variable left. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for a. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So now I have a times 6 times 3 minus 2 is 1. And that all equals negative 12. So now I get 6 times a equals negative 12. I need to divide by 6 to make them cancel out. Again, explain each step. Why are you doing the things you're doing? Negative 2 equals a. Great, now we've solved for a, and we need to go ahead and put this into standard form. So right now I have f of x equals negative 2 times x plus 3 times x minus 2. This is factored form, which is wonderful, but they asked for standard form, so I need to do an area model. X plus 3, x minus 2, x squared, 3x, negative 2, x, negative 6. If you notice that this problem could potentially take you longer to complete than the 5-minute time limit, you might want to have certain pieces filled in your notes, and you can just kind of walk them through faster. So for example, if you didn't have time to do this when you planned it out, you could have this already set up and just kind of walk through how you get from one to the other. So then you could already have x squared plus x minus 6, and you could just briefly go through where that came from. And then again, we have negative 2, so we need to distribute. Again, if time was a factor, you could have already written this out and just show me really quickly how this happened, and you get negative 2x squared minus 2x plus 12. The key here is to fully explain and show every single step of your work so that I can follow it. Again, keeping in mind your goal is to be able to explain it to someone who doesn't really understand any of this math. So that is the expectation for that.